Over the Yankees, Randy Johnson will face Luis Polonia, then Bernie Williams and Randy Velarde. Once before in this ball game, from Stanley through Polonia, Randy Johnson struck out 5 in a row. He now has 4 in a row: Stanley, Williams, Silvestri, and Elster. 1 strike to Polonia.
And Tony, when you look at that part of the Yankee order from Stanley on down, they haven't made contact at all strikeouts.
There's contact, more than a foul tip. Amaral to Blowers. So the string of 4 is broken by Polonia on a weak ground out. You look at Randy Johnson's last 5 outings, going back to June 4th against Toronto. In that ball game, he walked 4, struck out 15. Then against Oakland on the 10th, walked 2, struck out 8. Then we go to Texas at Texas, walked 3, struck out 12. Then California, walked 1, struck out 11. His last outing, a loss. He walked 4 and struck out 12.
And when you look at the pitch counts in those games, 141, 151, 143, 111, and 141 his last time out.
Yeah, you look at 3 of those 5 outings. Of all the pitches you talked about, over 140 in all of those 3, he threw 93, 96, and 90 strikes. Heck, most pitchers don't throw that many pitches in a game. I mean, 100 pitch counter, taking them out. 1 strike to Bernie. This is fouled off out of play. 0-2 for the leadoff hitter, Bernie Williams, who is 2 for 2 thus far against Randy Johnson. It took Randy Johnson a while to not only gain the confidence in himself and of the strike zone, but to learn his delivery, where he can now, you see him on the mound, throw a pitch wide, and he's making adjustments on the fly without helping the pitching coach. It's just missed. A ball and 2 strikes to Bernie Williams. You can see right there, 0-2, and Sammy Ellis becomes a tremendous admirer. He just talks about how awesome Randy Johnson has become. But you can see that 0-2 pitch. Wilson set up high and tight, and that's right where Randy Johnson threw it. Moved his feet, got him off the plate. Little cut fastball or slider. Amaral's away at second base. There are 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th.
Randy Johnson running that ball in on Bernie's fist. After Bernie had picked up a couple hits his first 2 trips up there. Pops out this time.
Now it's Randy Velarde, also 2 for 2 in this ball game against Randy Johnson. You know, this is one of those days where Mattingly still getting a rest with that sore forearm. The injection's still a little sore, breaking ball way inside. But Don Mattingly, the guy who hits Randy Johnson pretty well. You cannot say that again, I don't think, for any other left-hander in the American League.
Well, when you look at the total opposition average, it's 209 against Randy Johnson, and then you break it down lefty righty.
Yeah. This might flare in the right field corner. Long run for Buhner. With 2 outs, Velarde will try it. It's a 2-base hit as it bounces in. So with 2 outs, Velarde now 3 for 3 against Randy Johnson.
How about that for a night? Randy Velarde, 2 singles, and now on this fastball, around a little late, but he got it fair up the right field line. And the Yankees have a man in scoring position with 2 outs. Just checking left-handed hitters, 167 against Randy Johnson this year. Right-handed hitters only 213.
Jim Leyritz now, who's walked and struck out on a curveball in the first, with a chance with a base hit and 2 outs to tie the ball game. Fastball strike. There is not, as far as I can tell up here, any diminishing of the velocity when Randy Johnson goes from the stretch.
He was 98 on that first pitch to Leyritz. How about that?
That's what I thought I just heard. 11 hits in the ball game. The Yankees have 6, but the Mariners have the lead 2-1. Backdoor breaking ball. Boy, that's been a pretty pitch for him. and 2 to Jim Leyritz. That is the breaking ball that Sammy Ellis says. That is the short breaking ball. And then to finish hitters off, he throws what Sammy Ellis says his power breaking ball. Looks like a P in his hand, doesn't it?
Huh.
There's a Sandy Koufax size, and that just missed inside. 1 and 2, and Randy Johnson asking the home plate umpire or his catcher Wilson, where was it? Too far in? 1 and 2.
Another 98-mile-per-hour fastball out of the stretch. In between that other pitch, 83.
They shade Leyritz toward right center in the outfield. Breaking ball fouled off. Randy did not like that pitch. And out comes Dan Wilson, the catcher. It was a pitch similar to that 3 and 2. Danny Tartabull rifled in the left field corner to drive in the only Yankee run. Velarde's at second with 2 down. Excellent throwing arms in right and center. Buhner in right and Junior in center. Too high, 2 and 2. Nice crowd here on Friday night with the Mariners in, and a lot of people heading out of town. A little cooler weather in the Catskills and those trout streams. Still a nice crowd showed up here. The Yankees with a 4.5 game lead in the Eastern Division, coming off that 5-1 road trip through Cleveland and Boston. 2 and 2. Just fouled it off. Randy Johnson now returns 2 baseballs to the home plate umpire Tim Sheeta.
97 pitches. That's nothing for Randy Johnson so far.
Well, there's not a whole lot of strain on his arm with that new delivery he's got. As tall as he is, generates a lot of leverage, takes the strain off his arm. There's Velarde at second. Breaking ball got him. Wow, what a hook. Randy Johnson just gets his 11th strikeout. We are only through 5 here at the stadium, with the Mariners leading it 2-1. Along with Dwayne Stats, Tony Kubek. A lot of New Yorkers are still heading out of the city for their 4th of July celebration. Right here, Randy Johnson putting on a show. He has struck out 11. But Jim Abbott hanging right with him. There's a lot of expensive bats on the bench for the Yankees. There's one, Paul O'Neill, along with Mattingly and Boggs.
They're all left-handed on that bench tonight.
Along with Noakes and Darrell Boston. Mike Blowers, 1 for 2 in the ball game, to be followed by Keith Mitchell and then Mark Newfield, the DH. Abbott has struck out 3. He's walked 2, but Jim does have, let's see, 9 ground ball outs, I believe. Or is it 8? One or the other. Play ball allows to pull in the infield. It's a call strike. You see Elster set up. He made a fine play on Buhner to finish off the inning and strand 2 base runners for Jim Abbott. Hit deep to left. It is going back toward the monument. It is in the glove of Luis Polonia. A little too much height. It threw a scare into Jim Abbott and the Yankee fans.
Yes. Watch Blowers here as he keeps that head on the ball. Hit it hard, deep, but didn't quite get the carry once it got out there to left.
Right in the Death Valley area, which used to be about 403 feet right behind that. And then it went out to 457 in deep left center field. Now it's Mitchell. 2 ground outs thus far. This fists him. Stanley back. He's got it. 2 outs.
Nice play by Stanley, who's making his first start of the year at first base tonight. And goes back to get it. Second start, I think.
Yeah, in fact,
yeah, he'd made one other.
Mike was a little critical in that 6-5 game when the Yankees had the lead. They lost it in that last inning, or in the 8th inning up in Boston, and Damon Berryhill scored from third base, and Mike has said he took some of the blame, said I should have gone home. In that situation, at least taking a shot with Berryhill running on the slow chopper.
So he made his first start last night up in Boston, and then back at first tonight.
2 out for the DH, Mark Newfield. He has not gotten the ball out of the infield yet. That misses inside from Jim Abbott.
Abbott's high tonight, 87 miles per hour.
Slides off the end of the bat to right field toward Gerald Williams. So Jim Abbott, after the 5th, a little rough inning, broke the tie, has a nice, easy 3-up, 3-down 6. Mariners 2, Yankees 1. Those Yankee fans who are heading across the George Washington Bridge with this Perry Ellis look for the New Jersey Shore are missing one heck of a ball game here tonight. Randy Johnson leads it 2-1. First pitch, breaking ball to Danny Tartabull. He's grounded out and doubled in, the only Yankee run in the 3rd. This is foul out of play. 0-2 to Tartabull. In 1992, Randy Johnson led the American League with 241 strikeouts, but he also led the league in walks for the 3rd consecutive year when he walked 144. Last season, he struck out 308 and walked just 99. Is that incredible? That's Sandy Koufax territory. Way out of the strike zone. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Danny Tartabull.
That one got away from him a little bit. Number 101 on the night. The kind of pitch in last year's All-Star game that John Kruk really enjoyed. Yeah, but that one was 95.
1-2 to Danny. Breaking ball, right center field, high in the air. Griffey and Buhner. Jay Buhner's got it. Mike Stanley now, who has struck out twice. In fact, it's been an incredible run from Stanley through Gerald Williams, Silvestri, Elster, and Polonia. 9 of the 11 strikeouts have come from that group. And as you talked about it in the 5th, only Polonia's put the ball in play off Randy Johnson. The M&M boys. Breaking ball too low. The O&M boys. You know how much M&M candy was sold in 1961 with Mickey and Roger, and they didn't even have an endorsement. Just think of what it'd be these days.
How could they not have?
Well, they didn't.
Some kind of endorsement.
They weren't agents then.
Yep.
Frank Scott was the first agent ever, and he just negotiated some contracts. And on occasion, he'd get Mickey or Yogi or Roger on the Ed Sullivan Show for sitting in the audience, being introduced, get him $100 or maybe 500. The M&M sales skyrocketed that season. 1-1 to Stanley. That breaking ball just missed. 2-1. Stanley struck out on the breaking ball in the 1st, and then Johnson got him on the fastball in the third for his 7th strikeout. Comes up and in, 2-2. Lupinella was talking. He was asked today by a lot of the media crunch in his office after the press conference with Glenn Griffey Jr. about realignment in the weak West. He said, I love it. I love it. He said, we got a chance. And he said, no wild cards coming from this division, but with, he said, if we go and we do make it and go to the 3 out of 5 with the wild card, he said, you know, with a Randy Johnson, Ken Griffey Jr. can carry a club for a week on his shoulders, he said, we got a chance to go in the World Series. He thinks it's great. A lot of people, including myself, think it's kind of sad and moronic. The present setup. You get a team that could finish less than 500, and they end up maybe winning the World Championship. That is John Cummings, the left-hander, with John McLaren, the bullpen coach.
Well, the Mariners 11 games under 500 and only 2.5 out of first in their division. A prime example of what the new setup has given us.
Breaking ball fisted to the right side. Rich Amaral should have this one. He does. There are 2 outs.
Right fielder, Gerald Williams.
So after striking out the side in the 4th, Randy Johnson has struck out just one of the last 6 hitters.
He must be tiring.
Thrown a few more breaking balls, letting him put it in play. He's gotten Gerald Williams twice. First time on a changeup, the second time in the 4th on a slider. He doesn't get all his strikeouts on the hard stuff. Fastball hit hard to left field. Mitchell with a good jump. So Gerald Williams that time not taking any chances, jumping on the first pitch, but a 3-up, 3-down inning for Randy Johnson. We'll go to the 7th in a very tight ball game with Dwayne Statz coming back.
New York Yankees baseball is brought to you in part by Coors Light. Aged ice cold for that pure taste of the Rockies. Reach for the silver bullet, the right beer now. From Yankee Stadium tonight, we move into the 7th inning with the Mariners leading the Yankees 2-1. The Mariners scored in the 5th inning to break a 1-1 tie when Felix Fermin hit a sinking line drive into left that skipped by Luis Polonia for a base hit and a 2-base error. Fermin scored on Dan Wilson's single. And here in the 7th, it's going to be Fermin to lead it off again. 3rd time tonight, Fermin has opened an inning. And he fouls this one out of play. Fermin came into the game hitting .341, carrying the 6th best average in the American League, and that is now up to .343. Oh, 2.
He's taking a lot more aggressive swings, isn't he? He's not just feeling at the ball. You can see he's trying to hit the ball hard. Now he'll go into his 2-strike mode, and he's tough to strike out.
And Jim Abbott just did. How about that? That's only the 14th time this year Fermin has gone out on strikes. 4th strikeout of the night for Jim Abbott. He got ahead of him 0-2 and finishes him this way. A lot of bite to that one. 1 gone. Now Dan Wilson, who has both runs batted in tonight for Seattle. He homered in the 3rd and singled home Fermin in the 5th. 2 for 2, batting .230. There's a liner down the left side. That ball is going to be 1 hop and to the wall. Extra bases for Wilson, who will dig for 2 and make it standing up.
Catcher's got a little bit of running speed. You know that? He's not a slow runner. With Louis' arm, he plays the carom nicely and gets the ball in very quickly. Makes a mistake by not sliding. That's where you can hurt your knee or ankle.
He is 3 for 3. He has half the Seattle hits tonight and both runs batted in. Now the top of the order, Rich Amaral.
So how difficult is it for a catcher to get the triple?
Well, that's all he needs for the cycle. That's going to be, well, I tell you, he has 2 already this year. So not as difficult as it is for some catchers, perhaps. Ground ball deep in the hole, through and into left. He will stop at third as Bologna comes up with the ball and runs it part of the way back in. A base hit
I think Elster
through the
got
left
hurt.
side, and Elster diving for the ball. A little slow in returning to his spot. Let's see.
Elster had a long way to go and lands very hard. You know, sometimes when you've had his problem to land on that right elbow or right hand, that can jar that throwing shoulder, and he's had the surgeries on that shoulder. And because it wasn't to the left side of the diamond, Dan Wilson couldn't take any chances that it might be caught by the third baseman or shortstop, so he couldn't score.
So trouble here with 1 out. Runners at first and third, and Edgar Martinez, the batting champion of just a couple years ago. He's still only 31. He's 0 for 2 with a walk in this game. Abbott misses, too low, ball 1. A strikeout of Fermin to start it, then the double by Wilson. And Amaral singled into left, first and third.
One of Buck Showalter's strong suits has been getting the double play turn, especially behind Abbott, and we see with Kamenicki lately. That's when they had Kelly and Gallego, very good pivot men.
Too low. 2-0. Bullpen action. Xavier Hernandez starting to get loose.
See if Lou Piniella starts him.
Move over there. And Amaral is back in. We mentioned earlier tonight, Amaral has good speed.
And a guy with great bat control, Edgar Martinez. And Jim Abbott, not a power pitcher. You don't swing through and miss too many pitches off him.
Again, Abbott goes to first. Amaral is back in easily.
Edgar Martinez has grounded into 6 double plays.
Two and 0 the count. And a pop foul that's going to carry out a play.
The 2-0 pitch that was just fouled off, generally the pitch that a manager will let the good hitters like Edgar Martinez, as we look at the pitch count at 100 now, they let the good hitters have a good crack to go long ball or extra base hit. Then when it goes 2-1, the situation changes a little subtly and becomes more of a hit and run pitch. Let's see if Lou Piniella tries to do that. Silvestri cheating a lot towards second base.
2 balls and a strike. And again a move to Stanley at first. Amaral is back in. Jim Abbott working here in the 7th, trailing 2-1 as the Mariners threaten. Down and in, and Martinez lays off.
Was that a little slide step? Perhaps thinking hit and run and slide stepping, and then those are usually called by Billy Connors. Upset at something, whether Jimmy Abbott did that on his own, was not called, and now he gets deeper in the hole.
3-1 the count. Martinez lines it into right, a fair ball. Wilson scores, might score Amaral. They will hold him. He almost ran through the stop sign, and now the throw back to third, and he is in there. Into second goes Martinez. Martinez lining a double to right makes it 3-1, and Amaral continued to run, although Sam Perlazzo had the stop sign up at third. Amaral managed to get back safely.
It's why a third base coach goes up the line. A 3-1 pitch with Amaral, kind of a delayed steal on the move. and he got the pitch upstairs he could handle, and Perlaza went well up the line. And the reason that the third base coach does this, he can wait as long as he can to make the decision. There he is, half the way up. He was wanting to see where Gerald Williams is going to throw. If Williams throws to second, he keeps him coming, but Williams throws. Now there's some kind of injury. I don't know if it's the hamstring of Martinez or not.
He's trying to walk it off, and boy, you know the history that Martinez has had over the last year or two, and a concern. Lou Piniella out of the dugout. Edgar Martinez driving in his 31st run of the year with his 14th double. He's apparently all right. So Wilson scores. Amaril's at third and Martinez at second base. It's a 3-1 ball game. And how about Wilson in this game? He scored 2 runs. He has 3 hits. He's driven in 2. And Martinez apparently is all right at second.
Infield comes in now for the Yankees.
Ken Griffey Jr., the hitter. Just 1 out now with 2 men in scoring position. Griffey tried to check. That's a strike. He tried to stop his swing. Griffey single in the first. He is 1 for 3.
Junior's been walked intentionally 12 times this year. Jay Buhner has provided him pretty good protection. Right here you can see where Jim Abbott, you're not trying to come too close to the strike zone. Even the first pitch was a ball, but Junior couldn't check.
1-1 the count. He goes after this one, and now the count's a ball and 2 strikes.
A little over anxious to do the job and get the ball in the air, and goes after another bad pitch from Jim Abbott. He's one of the most relaxed hitters you'll see physically.
Abbott a little bit more away this time. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Mariners now lead by 2 runs. 1 out. 2 men in scoring position, and the count is 2-2 to Ken Griffey Jr., who taps it back toward the mound. Barehanded pickup, and Abbott goes to first on a fine play. Abbott to Stanley to get Ken Griffey Jr. in the runner's hole. Abbott came down barehanded, turned and threw.
Watch what he does first. He fields it barehanded. He looks to see if the runner's coming from third. Griffey has good speed. Didn't quite show you the part where he's looking to make sure that the runner, Amaral, is not coming in off third base. Now they can intentionally walk him.
Here's another look at that play.
Let's see Jim. Another breaking ball upstairs. He's going to go home if he could, and then he whirls and just barely gets Junior. Buck Showalter come out. I mean, I would think they're going to have to walk Buhner to get the Blowers.
Buhner due with Blowers to follow him. Buck has Hernandez in the bullpen. 2 outs now with men at second and third. It's a 3-1 game.
Yep.
So a key spot here with Randy Johnson opposing the Yankees tonight.
You have to wonder if there was some kind of contact play up with Amaral with that speed. He just held, showed no signs of going off third base.
Jay Buhner is 0 for 3. A couple strikeouts, and in the 5th inning grounded the ball to the left side, and Kevin Elster made a nice play to get the force play on Martinez to end that inning.
So they're going to pitch him, or at least try and pitch around him, which can be dangerous with first base open.
And the first pitch is a strike. Buhner already has 2 long home runs this year off Abbott. That came here back in April.
He has struck out twice in this ball game against Jim.
1 strike to count. Abbott goes wide with him. 1 ball, 1 strike.
He might get him out, but I still think the play is to intentionally walk him.
Down at third base, Amaral. Edgar Martinez at second. Here it is. Too low. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Just keeps trying to shoot the outside corner, backdoor the breaking ball. Get Buhner perhaps to go after a bad pitch.
Now the 2-1. He fouls this one out of play. Into the upper deck it goes. The Mariners have added a run in the 7th. It's a 3-1 ball game. Abbott, the 2-2. He struck him out to retire the side. Buhner strikes out for the 3rd time. The Mariners pick up another run on 3 hits and strand 2. We're headed into the bottom of the 7th. 3-1 Seattle. The Yankees are down by 2 runs facing left-hander Randy Johnson. It's a 3-1 ball game. Bottom of the 7th coming, and Dave Silvestri leads off. Johnson has walked only 1 tonight and has struck out 11. Silvestri goes after the first one, hits one deep to straightaway center. Griffey back, goodbye. Home run on the first pitch, Dave Silvestri. And it's 3-2. Silvestri jumped on the first pitch and belts it out right down the middle to center field. So it's a 1-run ball game again. Silvestri had hit 13 home runs at Columbus, and with 1 swing of the bat makes it 3-2. Here's Kevin Elster, and he fouls this one back, strike 1. He turns it around, 93-mile-per-hour fastball.
Dave Silvestri with the unenviable position of trying to catch up first with Roger Clemens' fastball in Boston. And this time, after 2 strikeouts against Randy Johnson, he catches up to that low sinking looking fastball.
2 strikes here on Elster. Well, the bottom part of the order really has done nothing at all against Randy Johnson, with the exception of that home run. It was a problem just making contact against the Seattle left-hander. That was the 5th spot on down.
That was the 10th home run that Randy Johnson has given up. And home runs don't cost him as much like they did a few years ago, because now walking as few as he did last year, less than 100, and again this year, they're usually solo shots.
Elster is out on strikes for the 3rd time. 12 strikeouts for Randy Johnson. 1 out in the 7th.
Junior made one of the most sensational catches we have ever seen off Jesse Barfield a few years ago, with his dad present doing television that game. Remember that day he climbed the wall?
That wall.
Caught it like an ice cream cone and was smiling all the way when he was coming down. You can't call home runs too quick with him out there.
Luis Polonia fouls one into the seats back of 3rd, strike 1. Polonia out on strikes and grounded out to 2nd his last time. A 1-run ball game. And a little looper. That's going to be in there. Base hit, a fair ball. Polonia's digging for 2, and he will make it. Johnson Tried to drop down that time, and Polonia stayed in there enough to loop it just fair. Back of third.
Luis will be bailing a little bit. You can see the tailgate fly, but the ball stayed upstairs, and Luis just stayed with it. Even though his backside flew out, he kept his head on the ball. Here comes Spinella.
So Polonia picking up his 13th double of the year. Batting ninth tonight against the left-hander Johnson, and he utilizes his speed to leg out a double. So the Yankees have the potential tying run at second base with one out. And the top of the order coming up. Lou Piniella out there, and that's going to be it for Randy Johnson.
He had just gotten, I believe, Bobby Ayala up, who has been their closer.
So Johnson is gone after 6 1/3. He strikes out 12 tonight and is not very happy. He gave up the home run to Silvestri, and now a double here to Polonia.
I'm not so sure who it is coming in. Before I could get the number, he was down and starting to trot in behind the fence. Ayala is their closer. I don't think he'd come in this early. Bill Risley, who really has done a great job, came out of, they stole him from the Montreal organization. He throws hard too.
So Johnson is gone as the Mariners make a pitching change. Brought to you by the AT&T Business Advantage. Let it work for you.
Great arm. I mean, he'll get the ball up to 93, 94 with a real quick slider. And Lou Piniella with an added faith in his bullpen, unlike earlier this year.
He was a starting pitcher when Lou Piniella saw him. He spent some time in the Reds organization. Man at second. A run home. Bernie Williams, the hitter. And the pitch is foul, out of play by Bernie. Strike one.
There's a great job of scouting done on Bill Risley, because he was left unprotected. In fact, Montreal really didn't want to pitch him in spring training.
Yep,
they scouted him so well. They tried to hide him in the scouts, and they said, and another good break they had was, because they'd already had a full 40-man roster, Woody Woodward, the GM, had him in spring training and then didn't put him on the waiver wire because the roster was full until after all the rosters were filled, all the major league teams, and then he sneaked them through that way. And they really caught a couple lucky breaks with him, aside from the great scouting.
This one down and in. 1 ball, 1 strike. There's Polonia. And Luis managed to hang in there long enough and get the bat on the ball to double up the left field line against Randy Johnson. Too close. 2 balls and a strike.
Well, we told you earlier the raft of left-handed pinch hitters that Buck Showalter has in his bench, 5 of them. Of course, it's a reason why Lou Piniella, in case Buck would want to make a little change, he's got a left-hander throwing in the bullpen.
Randy Velarde due next. And a chop, shortstop. Fermin makes the play. And on the play to first, Polonia advances to third.
Read well by Luis Polonia when he saw the first high hop. It was kind of a taboo as we look from our Perry Ellis camera. You can see Fermin jockeying so Luis does not get too big of a lead. It's a taboo not to go. You should not go to third base the ball to the left side, but you read the ball like Polonia did, the high hopper, and he's down at third base.
So the Yankees have the potential tying run at third with 2 outs. And Randy Velarde, who was 3 for 3 off Randy Johnson, will now face the right-hander Bill Risley here in relief of Johnson. Randy up to 293 now. And the pitch just missed, ball 1.
Ridgely averaging more than a strikeout per inning pitched. In fact, about a strikeout and a half.
Yep, he's been a real find for the Seattle Mariners. Foul ball back, and the count is 1-1. He's just one of those fellas whom Lou Piniella had seen when he was at Cincinnati, and when Woody Woodward said they might have a chance to get him, they asked Lou about him. He said, grab him with that kind of an arm.
Same as Bobby Ayala.
Yep.
Lou had him over there, too. Didn't have much control. He does now, though. Sammy Ellis done a terrific job with some of these young pitchers.
2 balls and a strike. He's been consistently above 90, up around 93, topping out. Changing speeds down to 79. Johnson struck out 12 in 6 1/3. Velarde facing Risley. Too low. 3 balls and a strike.
One of the areas Randy Velarde's had trouble is he's hitting with men in scoring position. A lot of it because he gets impatient. And it's one thing that Rick Down is working. Wait up until 2 strikes till you get your pitch after you get the scouting report. New pitcher coming in. He's worked the count in his favor right now.
3-1. It is from Risley. To Velarde. Foul out of play. Into the upper deck it goes. Silvestri opened this inning with a home run to dead center on the first pitch. He connected off Randy Johnson. Elster struck out. Polonia doubled. That was it for Johnson. He was up in the neighborhood of 115 pitches. Robbie Williams grounded out against Risley. Now a full count. Here it is. And Randy stays alive.
Risley's got enough on his fastball that he can pitch upstairs. You can see that by Velarde. Pitches right around the belt. Just can't center them. Fouling them back.
The 3-2 again. Here it is. And a swing and a miss. Velarde chases a high fastball. Risley strikes out Velarde, and the Yankees settle for the run on the home run by Silvestri. 2 hits and a man left. At the end of 7, 3-2 Seattle. It's a 1-run ball game again at Yankee Stadium, and we're moving into the top of the 8th with Tony Kubek, Dwayne Statz in the opening game of the series against Seattle. The goose is loosening in the Seattle bullpen. One thing Lou Piniella said before the game coming into this series, his bullpen is in pretty good shape, and he got a couple of big outs from the 27-year-old right-hander Bill Risley to leave Luis Polonia in scoring position and hold this game to a 1-run contest.
Yeah, and with Randy Johnson being so overpowering till he left, it's easy to lose sight of when you've got a sensational pitcher like that out there, lose sight of what Jim Abbott's done. He's kept him in the ball game again, and that's very important. He kept the Yankees within striking distance. Not that the Mariners have a great offense. They got about 5 guys in their lineup who can hurt you.
Mike Blowers opens the 8th inning.
Mariners do have a lot of home runs. They're tied with the Tigers coming in tonight with 110 home runs. So they got some pop.
And they got an unlikely home run from Dan Wilson, their catcher, only his 2nd of the year tonight, to give them their first run. A ball, no strikes to count to Blowers. It's wide. 2-0. Mike hit the ball to the warning track back toward left center field in the 6th inning. Single in the 4th. There's ball 3. 3-0.
There was a long stretch earlier in the season, up until about the last 6 or 7 starts for Jim, where he was having difficulty, problem being walking the first hitter in an inning. He's pretty much avoided that lately.
3-0. He comes back with a strike. It's 3-1. Coming into this game, Abbott had not walked the leadoff batter in any inning in his last 5 starts. But you're right, early that was a big problem for him, and he, for the most part, was pitching around that. He did get hurt some, but not nearly as much as he could.
Tough hot. You could see it off the bat.
And the ball bounces away from Velarde. Randy back started to charge the ball and will be charged with an error.
You can almost see it when left the bat beat in front of home plate. And with Randy playing Blowers deep, he chose not to back up and let the ball play him. Could not get the short out, got the in-between hop, and rolls up his wrist.
It's only the second time tonight the Mariners have put the leadoff man on. Both have been associated with errors, although Felix Fermin got credit for a base hit on the sinking line drive to left in the 5th, and that skipped by Polonia, and Fermin went all the way to 3rd. Now Blowers reaching on the air in the 8th inning, and here's Keith Mitchell.
And the Yankee corners in the infield have to be aware of a possible bunt situation.
Mitchell, as you see there, popped down his last time on a nice play by Mike Stanley, who's starting again tonight at first base after getting his first start of the year last night at first base. Mitchell shows the bunt, first base side. Stanley looks to second, decides to go to first, Silvestri covering. So the Mariners sacrifice Blowers into second base.
Mike comes up looking. Blowers does not have good speed, but he decides, and I think wisely so, to take the sure out at first base. He took a glance. Jim Abbott may have been yelling, and sometimes a guy comes up and starts pirouetting to throw, and then all of a sudden somebody else, first base. You look, and then you go and take the sure one. Jim Abbott may have been doing that.
Now the designated hitter steps in. Mark Newfield. Blowers on second. That's a strike. Ball popping away from Laritz, but not far enough to give Blowers any ideas. Laritz was charged with 2 pass balls in the first inning. When Griffey singled with 2 outs, wound up going to 3rd on consecutive pitches that got away from Jim Laritz, but Griffey was stranded on 3rd in that inning. Down and in, and the count is 1-1. Dan Wilson was also charged with a pass ball tonight early in the game in the 3rd. There's Paul Gibson throwing in the Yankees bullpen. We had a dandy game tonight in the opening game of this 3-game series, first of a 10-game homestand. 2 balls and a strike. Abbott touched for 3 runs, 2 earned runs tonight, and in a bit of a spot here in the 8th as a result of the opening error.
Tough 5th, tough 7th, has pushed his pitch count up.
Fly ball deep to right. Gerald Williams is there making the catch. Here's the tag by Blowers. He's going to try to advance, and the throw is up the line toward left as Blowers advances safely.
It's almost impossible for as deep as Gerald is, but look at how he approaches this. Gets a somewhat of a running start, and then the ball just tails off. He's got a very strong throwing arm. Did you see what Elster just did? Elster got between Blowers and the throw to try and block him off when it hit the glove, and maybe try and obscure Blowers' field of vision. What
2 outs.
What a sly, slick devil.
Just like all those shortstops. Now Felix Fermin, who has a hit and a run scored. He's hitting .341 for the year. He was jammed and fights it off, fouling it out of play. Strike 1.
Let's see if we can see Kevin coming into the picture. Kevin Elster. He sees the fly ball go up. Now he gets over towards second base. Nah, he didn't get far enough to obscure his vision. In a cutoff position. He's trying to line Gerald's thrower.
Upstairs.
Boy, that fooled Jim Leyritz.
1-1. Each team with 8 hits. 3-2 Seattle. The runner at third is Blowers. And Fermin skies it foul. That's going to be out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You know, I wonder if Lou Piniella or Lee Elia told Fermin, hey, look, you never strike out, but you'll never hit for average. So why don't you have good hacks so you strike out a little bit more, but at least you're going to drive the ball a little bit and maybe drive some runs in and improve your average. Because he's much more aggressive with that bat in his hands now.
Abbott ahead in the count. The 1-2. And a bouncer to first, taken by Stanley, unassisted, to retire the side. No runs, no hits, 1 error, and he is left on base. We'll go into the bottom of the 8th with the score 3-2 Seattle. Back at Yankee Stadium. Reminder, tomorrow the series continues. That's a 1:30 first pitch. Jimmy Key and Dave Fleming. That game will be on WPIX. And those good guys, they are good guys after all.
They're decent.
Bobby Mercer in the scooter. Bill Rizzuto. Paul Olden along tomorrow for the middle game of this series. We'll be back with you on Sunday. That's a 1 o'clock start there. A 1:35 first pitch. Bruce Beck will be along with the Yankees scorecard at 1 o'clock on Sunday.
Jim Abbott might be finished. There have been some people going on and congratulating him for keep the ball close. His pitch total's up. Perhaps for these first 3 hitters, we won't see a pinch hitter. It's a right-handed pitcher. We might see one after that, though.
Bottom of the 8th. Jimmy Leyritz leading off, facing Bill Risley, and a swing and a miss. Strike 1. Risley came on to get Bernie Williams on a ground ball and Randy Velarde on strikes to get out of the 7th. The Yankees have closed the gap to 1. Risley, 27-year-old right-hander. Upstairs. The count is 1-1.
They like his quick little slider to right-handed hitters, especially when they're sitting on the fastball. He's thrown a couple to Jim Leyritz. And another, or a cut fastball, one or the other.
Runs right away from Jim Leyritz, and the count is a ball and 2 strikes. Two runs off Johnson in 6 1/3. Now Risley. And he gets Leyritz on strikes. So again, the ball moving away from Jimmy Leyritz.
That they probably call it a cut fastball now. 30 years ago, that was what they called the true slider. Just a very short, quick break with a little downward action.
Now Danny Tarnable. He takes one too high, ball 1. Tarnable doubled home a Yankee run in the 3rd inning off Randy Johnson, giving him 1 for 3 tonight. And 45 runs batted in for the year. 1-1 the count.
Interesting when you look at, there's a lot of left-handed bats with some power and a lot of good averages sitting right there. Mattingly, Boggs, and O'Neill all looking over the delivery with the best angle they can get of Risley. Ooh, a little sweeping breaking ball.
Breaks over for a strike. He had Tarnable leaning away from the plate, and this one broke to catch part of the plate. The count is 1-2. Risley had made just a couple of big league appearances over the last couple of years. Foul out of play, and the count is 1-2. We got into 2 games and 3 innings last year at Montreal, and 1 game the year before that.
Well, he was available this spring for any team that wanted to jump on him, and I think the Yankees may have scouted him.
He's been a find for Seattle. Upstairs. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He got Velarde to chase a pitch high out of the strike zone in the 7th inning to end the frame. He struck out Lawrence in the 8th. 2-2 to Tarnable. Mike Stanley's on deck.
And when Risley went out to start this inning, Lou Piniella had his bullpen going.
Bouncing ball foul behind Willie Randolph. Well, he had Davis, the left-hander, up. He's had both.
He's got Davis
Cummings
up
and Davis,
Ayala behind him.
Yep. Abbott has given the Yankees 8 innings tonight. 3 runs, 2 earned. 2-2 the count. Tarnable swings and misses.
Took a little something off a breaking pitch. Up, appeared to be out of the strike zone.
That's 2 strikeouts in this inning, 3 straight for Risley.
You know, it's interesting. You see a pitch like that, and you say, well, that's just a hanging slider. But when you look at the count and what he's thrown so far and where Wilson was set up, he set up low and away. And a hitter's protecting that plate away so he doesn't strike out on the breaking ball. So a hanging slider, even though it broke sharply, becomes a good pitch.
Now Mike Stanley takes 1 too high. Ball 1. 12 strikeouts for Randy Johnson, and now 3 for Bill Risley. 15 Yankee strikeouts tonight. The 1-0. And a drive into left for a base hit. It's headed to the wall. Stanley on his way to second as Mitchell makes the pickup. A 2-base hit for Mike Stanley. Hit number 9 for the Yankees, and now we'll get a pinch runner for Stanley. Stanley picking up his 9th double, and he'll leave for the pinch runner Boston.
Fastball inside corner. Turned on by Stanley.
With Stanley lifted for the pinch runner, Boston takes over at second base, and Paul O'Neill emerges from the Yankee dugout, and he will hit in the place of Gerald Williams.
Well, when he's announced, does that mean that Lou Piniella will come in and bring in the curveballing left-hander Davis? And then try and finish it off with Ayala in the 9th?
Well, the Yankees have the potential tying run at second with 2 outs in the 8th. They had a potential tying run at second with 1 out in the 7th. Got him as far as 3rd with 2 outs and left him there. And now Lou Piniella pops out of the Seattle dugout and makes a slow walk to the mound.
Ayala and Davis both ready. Davis pitched very effectively against the Yankees early in the season. He looks like he's going to Ayala with that forkball. Then he hit the right hand.
And I think that's exactly who he's calling for. Risley out of there after an inning and a third, in which time he struck out 3 and gave up the double to Stanley. And it's going to be Ayala. So Ayala gets the call, and we'll be back following this. And Bill Risley on for the 31st time, 2-1, 11 saves, and a 186 earned run average.
You know, we talked about Randy Johnson, who started the ball game, strikeout innings pitch. Then we talked about Risley's, but this guy Bobby Ayala strikeout innings pitch is unreal. He has struck out 55 in 38 2/3, giving up just 1 home run and walked 16. He not only throws hard, Lou Piniella knew that when he had him at Cincinnati. He didn't know he had the kind of forkball that he's shown this year. It's devastating, too, and look at the signs for Paul.
Paul O'Neill, pinch hitting. He's nothing of his last 16. Hitting .365 for the year. That's Boston running at second.
Whoa,
look out. Down he goes. Ball 1.
Did he hurt himself?
O'Neill went down and is taking a long time getting up.
I think he knocked the wind out of
went
himself.
flying one way, and he landed flat on his back. And he takes a little time. He's squirming that neck. A 91-mile-per-hour fastball buzzed him. And you can see him grimace a little bit and maybe reach for the lower back as well.
He hit very hard, didn't he? Flush on his lower back.
Here's another look. He's back in. Refocused. And a foul ball out of play. 1-1 the count.
He comes right back inside with the hard stuff to O'Neill.
Crank that one up to 94.
Left-handed batter. Now the whole league isn't hitting very well against Ayala. You
No.
expect left-handers to do better. Left-handers hitting just 188 against him.
Yeah, right-handers 174. Left-handers 188. How about that? Upstairs. 2 balls and a strike. O'Neill, 13 homers, 51 runs batted in. And he lifts a high popper toward the left field line. And it's going to be into the stands and no catch for Mitchell.
The third base umpire, Field
went
and
into
Culbreth,
the stands and
I'll
is
tell you,
arguing that he was interfered with. But Mitchell was reaching into the stands.
Field and Culbreth, the rookie umpire, was running down the line. Now Lou is asking another umpire who perhaps had a better view. The second base umpire, Dankinger, comes over as Lou is arguing, says somebody else had to see it. That in Lou's mind, he figures the fan reached out and that Mitchell did not reach in. Well, Mitchell's he's in the seats. He's in the seats. No fan interference.
He was in the stands, so there's no interference.
What a try by Keith Mitchell, going in the first row.
We'll see again as Mitchell goes into the stands.
Yeah, he's going there at his own risk. He's in the first row. I'll tell you, to show you how hard Ayala throws, it was a 2-ball, 1-strike pitch. O'Neill knows he's going to get a fastball and couldn't get around on it. Hits it late. But he'll get another crack at it.
So the count is 2-2.
Ayala wants a baseball.
Running at second.
Ayala wants to do one thing, get a baseball so he can continue the game. Now he's got one.
2 outs, bottom of the 8th. Now the 2-2. And a drive hit deep, but well foul into the upper deck down the right side.
I'm not sure, but in this series, I think Ayala's thrown 2 forkballs or splitters, if you will, and both of them have not done much. I think that's what this last pitch is. It didn't really have the real drop. It's a field pitch. Sometimes it takes that man coming into the bullpen getting used to the mound and getting the feel.
Now the 2-2 again. And a foul ball as O'Neill stayed alive, fighting that pitch off. That was boring in on him.
Well, they talk about hitters wanting to get their arms extended. With the velocity Ayala's got, if he can throw it in there, as he's thrown 3 fastballs inside, it is tough to get around on.
Count still 2-2. Ayala's pitch. And a foul ball. This one bounces up and got a little piece of Paul.
He's got the forkball downstairs that time for the first time. Good job to stay alive by Paul O'Neill.
Boston running at second. Pinch running for Stanley, who doubled with 2 outs.
Four outs are not easy to get against this Yankee ball club, especially when you figure what they've got on the bench.
There's ball 3 inside. So O'Neill, battling Ayala, has run the count all the way out to 3-2 as Lou Piniella paces in the Seattle dugout. Yankees have not led tonight. They're down 3-2 now. And the 3-2 hit high and deep to right again, but foul. Another foul ball.
Again, I don't believe that was his fastball. Tried to trick Paul O'Neill and got it upstairs, and he's out in front.
So O'Neill battling Ayala. It's been a 9-pitch at bat so far. 3-2 again. And a tap foul, and that got part of Wilson.
Wow.
Wilson shaken up, getting part of the foul ball. And they'll come out and take a look at Dan Wilson. Here it is.
Rick Griffin, the trainer, has been out a couple times. Earlier, you might recall, he was out at second base with Edgar Martinez. Looked like he'd hurt a leg, but stayed in. Right over the top of a sinker on the four-seam fastball. That hit him on the thigh. I'm not certain where that hit him, or right on the knee. I'm not sure.
Might have gotten him on the foot. That left foot, I think.
Everything is protected on that catcher except those toes. Yeah, right on the left toe.
Now Wilson going to shake that one off. O'Neill battling Ayala. He's about to make the 3-2 pitch again. Here it is, and a foul ball once more.
So he's showing Bobby Ayala that he does not have to go to his fastball even when it's 3-2.
There's Darrell Boston. Three-two once more, and a foul ball again. Well, the Yankees have seen some arms tonight. Randy Johnson from the left side for 6 1/3. Bill Risley for an inning and a third. Now Ayala here in the 8th inning.
And just what you want to do as the fans still sit perched in right field with the signs. You want to get the setup man and the closer in the first game of that 3-game series.
3-2 and a ground ball to the right side. Going to go through a base hit. Boston on his way to the plate, and this game is tied. What an at-bat for Paul O'Neill, who ties this game at 3. O'Neill continued to battle Ayala and got one through the right side to drive in the tying run. On the 13th pitch, O'Neill slipped it through the right side to tie the game.
I believe he got a forkball after getting pounded inside the pitch before with a fastball. And I've never seen Paul O'Neill emote like that. You see him if he pops the ball up or strikes out, but not like this. Wow.
He was stoked at first base. And here's Silvestri taking a strike.
And Lou Piniella had an option. He could have brought in his left-hander, the youngster, with a curveball to O'Neill with no chance for Buck Showalter to counter that move. No right-handed bats on the bench. He was trusting in Ayala getting in 4 big outs and preserve the win.
Silvestri takes one high, and the count is 1-1. Here's the base hit again.
Not a fastball, a sinker or a forkball. Amaral can't get to it. And with that base hit, it allows Sylvester to stay in the game, and Buck Showalter doesn't have to put another left-handed pitcher up for him.
Sylvester sends a high popper that's going to drift into the seats down the right side and extend the count to a ball and 2 strikes. O'Neill will return to first after delivering that big pinch hit single. Here's some of that emotion you were talking about,
watch his
Tony.
reaction if we see the end of this as he heads down to first base when it sneaks through just by Amaral. Amaral and Blowers, and he is pumped. He broke a long offer, didn't he?
Pitch is high to Sylvester, and the count is 2-2. He'd gone 0 for 16.
You know, Paul O'Neill was saying before the ballgame after batting, he said, boy, he said, I like to play against everybody. He said, but I'm beat. He said, I need a day off. He said, I need to be rejuvenated. My bat's been dragging.
Ball 3 upstairs. So the count is 4. The run charged to Risley. 1 run and an inning and a third charged to the second Seattle pitcher of the night. Ayala responsible for O'Neill. And the pitch, a swing and a miss to retire the side. But the Yankees pick up the tying run on 2 hits. The Yankees leave a man, and at the end of 8, the Yankees and the Mariners are tied 3-3. Back at Yankee Stadium and headed into the 9th inning. Paul O'Neill stays in the game to play right field and got a nice reaction as he headed to his position after delivering the pinch hit single to tie the game. So O'Neill will stay in to play right field in the place of Gerald Williams. At first base, Jim Lawrence takes over there, moving from his catching spot, and Matt Noakes is in the game to do the catching. The Yankees will have a new pitcher. Right-hander Xavier Hernandez follows Jim Abbott to the mound. Hernandez on for the 25th time. He's 3-3 with a .593 earned run average.
He pitched just 1/3 of an inning. That was yesterday in Boston, and before that it had been a long time. He hadn't pitched since the 19th of June, so they've been working on things with him. And I would imagine to try and refine that forkball a little bit and get more dip to it.
And with him in the game, Tony, Reggie Jefferson will come off the Seattle bench to pinch hit for the catcher Dan Wilson.
Yeah, the Yankees are probably happy that Wilson's out of the ballgame.
You know, the night he's had, he's been on base 3 times.
He probably wouldn't have been, but I think that getting hurt maybe got him out of the game. That foul ball he took off his left foot, and perhaps can't go anymore.
So Wilson, who had homered, a single homer run, doubled and scored. And now Reggie Jefferson. Jefferson, a switch hitter, but recently has been strictly a left-handed hitter, batting .343 for the year with 7 home runs and 23 runs batted in. And this one up and in as Jefferson.
Warning. How about this?
Ducks, and now a warning from Tim Shida. This one about 91 miles per hour. So as Paul O'Neill went down in the bottom of the 8th inning, Hernandez sails one up, and Jefferson ducked this one, and the warning has been assessed. Here's
well, you can bet that the warnings have come from the league office to give warnings early. We've seen it like 3 times in the last 2 weeks. Twice with the Larry Barnett and Greg Koss crew. Once here, once in Boston, and now very quickly by Tim Shida.
And a foul ball. A little piece of Matt Noakes. So the count is 1 ball, 1 strike. A 3-3 ball game in the 9th inning. So Noakes behind the plate again, and welcome back.
You see, that's the 3rd time early in the game, early in the year against Detroit, when Hernandez hit Fryman. He was ejected. He got warned 1 other time this year.
Yeah.
Now he gets warned again. So
Bouncer right side. Larretts with Hernandez covering, and Jefferson is out of there. Jimmy Larretts to his right to make that play. One out here in the ninth. Now we'll go to the top of the batting order. Rich Hammerall. Hernandez in relief of Abbott. Hammerall was on a couple times against Abbott with a walk and a base hit. Also put down a sacrifice bunt.
And he's been known to try and bunt his way on also by trying to push the ball or drop it down the third baseline.
Thinks the pitch too close. Ball one. Hammerall hitting .272. 8 innings for Abbott tonight. Piniella looking on. 8 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned, 5 strikeouts, and 2 walks. Big chop that's going to go through the left side. A base hit. Hammerall can run, and Polonia makes the pickup in left to hold Hammerall to a single. So a chopping base hit into left. One on, one out for Edgar Martinez.
And with a forkball pitcher on the mound and Xavier Hernandez, we could very well again see a running game. We saw in the 7th inning Amaral run on a 3-1 pitch, and Martinez hit the ball in the right field corner.
At the time, that made it a 3-1 game. It's 3-3 now as we play in the 9th. Martinez hitting .303. Amaral back in at first base.
Yeah, 3-1 with the deficit with Randy Johnson on the mound with the way Risley's pitched, and then Ayala, you say, wow, this Lou Piniella's crew couldn't finish the game off for him. But it's a sign of what the Yankees have done a good part of this year. Come back a lot.
Amaral leaning a bit at first, and the pitch is in for a strike.
Well, Matt Noakes hasn't done a lot of catching. Remember down at Columbus's rehab, he DH'd a little bit, caught a little bit, and then was asked to play first base 3 games in a row to get ready for up here with Mattingly's injury. So we'll see if Amaral and Lou Piniella will try and take advantage of that.
Amaral back in at first base. Abbott for 8. Jefferson grounded out. And then Amaral singled against Hernandez. Amaral's going. The pitch is low, and Noakes cannot handle it. So Amaral swipes a base, his 5th stolen base in 6 attempts this year.
Couldn't have picked a better pitch, too. I mean, you saw the lean again. And Hernandez had the forkball grip in his glove.
So Amaral steals his way into scoring position.
Very quick first step. Not a great sizable lead.
Here's the 1-1. Martinez checked in time, laying off the split, and the count is 2-1.
You wonder with Edgar Martinez's bat position, a little bit like Julio Franco, not as extreme, how he gets the bat through the zone, don't you? But boy, he's got that bat wrapped.
And a chop towards short, tough play, and Elster comes up with it nicely. Amaral goes to third. Elster made a nice play on that hop to get Edgar Martinez.
I think John Heyman in his article after Elster played short up in Boston used a word that is so true of his field. He called him silky. And boy,
he is that.
This is not an easy hop. Looks it right in the glove. Out comes Buck Showalter.
2 gone. Buck Showalter's on his way to the mound. Ken Griffey Jr. is due up. Steve Howe's been in the bullpen as we take a look at Elster's play again.
Well, that's a tough enough hop if it's hit right at you if you have to charge it. But he's got to go 3 or 4 steps to his left and surround it to get a throwing angle. Steve Howe, I believe, is coming on.
So Steve Howe is going to get the call. We'll be back in a moment. Back at Yankee Stadium in the ninth, the Yankees and the Mariners tied 3-3. Mariners have a runner at third with 2 outs, and Ken Griffey Jr. due up, and Steve Howe gets the call. 23rd appearance for Steve. He is 1-0 with a .286 earned run average. Picked up his victory Wednesday in Boston when the Yankees defeated the Red Sox in 10 innings, 4-3.
And Buck Showalter is finding that the more he works Howe, and we talked about it in Cleveland and Boston, the more his ball seems to move and the stronger he seems to get. Elster comes in wanting to know, as does Silvestri, how they are to play Ken Griffey Jr. Is he going to try and get him inside, make him pull the ball, pitch him away, where they'll play him a little differently?
Griffey has a hit tonight in 4 trips to the plate. He singled his first time up. Since then, a couple fly balls and a nice play made by Abbott to get him on a tap back in the 7th inning. He bats in the 9th. Howe and Griffey. And the first pitch is in for strike 1.
He takes the first pitch all the way. Remember what he swung at off Jim Abbott. The clutch situation balls are well out of the strike zone.
And he jammed him. Boy, did he get in. Noakes back, but that ball, well, the ball fell just on the field side of the screen and deflected. I'm not sure Noakes had a chance to get back there. I don't know if the ball was high enough. You talk about a jam shot.
It's been a pitch that Ken Griffey Jr. is seeing more on. Up and in, and they try and speed up his bat there. Then he becomes vulnerable away. When he's hitting well away, he doesn't have much trouble with left-handed pitchers. He's still hitting .290 against him this season, and he's been slumping a little bit.
2 strikes the count.
What a great pitch by Howe. Pitch number 2.
Here it is. And a one-hopper that skips by Silvestri into right field, and the go-ahead run scores. Hammerall crosses the plate to make it 4-3.
I mean, that ball is smoked on a 0-2 pitch. Steve Howe made it too good. Dave Silvestri had an option. Stay in front of the ball and let it go through you. He decides to lay it. I mean, it's not a good pitch from Howe that far ahead in the count. The interesting what Red Foley, interesting, there it is, out over the plate, the pitch he likes. That ball, you know, it was hit so hard, it had that side spin and overspin. I think Silvestri was fooled because it curled back on him. Took a step to his right and then it just handcuffed him. How'd Red Foley score it? Base hit?
A base hit. Griffey now 2 out of 10 lifetime against Steve Howe.
Well, they had some pretty good verbal joust. Remember last year in Seattle when he got him out and Junior said something and then Howe said something back, started coming out of the dugout.
Jay Buhner at the plate now with Griffey at first. And a foul back and out of play. Strike 1.
So Lou Piniella uses his speed well, giving Amaral a go-ahead on the forkball, stealing second base.
One and one to count. The one-out single by Amaral, the steal of second, the move to third on the ground ball. And he scores on the base hit by Griffey on the 0-2 pitch. 2 balls and a strike.
And if you're looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th in this one-run ball game right now with Elster coming up, I would assume we're going to see Boggs. So Buck Showalter still got some pop left off his bench.
Ground ball, shortstop. Elster with the flip to Silvestri, and that retires the side. But the Mariners pick up the lead run on 2 hits. They leave 1 and will go into the bottom of the 9th. 4-3 Seattle. Bottom of the 9th inning from Yankee Stadium. 4-3 Seattle leading. Bill Hasselman takes over behind the plate from Wilson. Bobby Ayala on the mound. And the Yankees will send Wade Boggs to the plate to pinch hit, leading off the bottom of the ninth in this one-run deficit. Wade takes to the plate with him, the average of .332.
Officially is nothing of 3 as a pinch hitter.
And he's here to lead off the bottom of the ninth. Yankees tied it in the 8th, down by 1 in the 9th. And the first pitch, Wade looks at a strike. Elster gone 0 for 3 tonight. And with the left-handed bat, Boggs available on the bench, Buck Showalter calls upon him to pinch hit. 1 ball, 1 strike. First pitch from Ayala, 92. First pitch from Howe, by the way, tonight was 93. Fly ball into center. Griffey coming on though, and he's going to make the catch for the out.
You know, we talked in Cleveland so much about Kenny Lofton as an outstanding center fielder. Well, I think he might be a notch below a junior. And Kenny Lofton's really good.
Yeah.
State of the art still up in Toronto and Devon White. But boy, when you incorporate Junior's instinct for the game, and especially that throwing one, wow.
Now Luis Polonia. The pitch is wide, ball 1. Martinez playing in at third, just in case Polonia should try to put down the bunt. He pulls away from that pitch, and it's in for a strike. 1-1.
Have the Yankees seen some hard throwers tonight?
Oh, and then some. Johnson, Risley, and Ayala. There's a little tap right back to the hill. And they toss to first in time. 2 quick outs here in the Yankee 9th against Ayala. And it's going to be up to Bernie Williams to try to keep this thing going for the Yankees.
Lou Piniella was asked the question in the pregame press conference, does beating the Yankees mean a little more to you? He hedged a little bit. He said, oh, a win's a win, but you could just tell, and you see the way he's managed against them the last couple of years, that being back home here with his former team means a little bit more. And he'll perhaps manage a little bit more and use his staff a little bit more to get that win.
Bernie looks at one just off the plate, ball 1. Wide, 2-0. Between these two clubs tonight, over 300 pitches have been made. And when you consider we've only had 3 walks in this game, that's amazing. But 15, now 16 strikeouts by Seattle pitching. And Jim Abbott struck out 5 while he was in there. Ball 3, 3-0. Andy Velarde hoping he'll get a chance. And there's ball 4. Ayala walks Bernie Williams, who reaches for the 3rd time tonight. And Randy Velarde will get a chance to hit. Sammy Ellis, the pitching coach, is on his way to the mound to talk with Bobby Ayala.
And could very well be Lou sending him out to say, look, Bernie Williams has been stealing some bases, but he should not be your primary focus. The primary focus got to be the man with the bat. You want to throw over once or whatever you want to do, then let's focus on what we're going to do and how we're going to get Randy Velarde out. He gives him a scouting report. There's not a whole lot of finesse to Ayala. It's his hard fastball and then the forkball.
Yankees down to their final out, trailing by a run. Velarde 3 for 4 tonight, hitting .292. And the pitch is too high, ball 1.
Not only does he throw hard, but he's got a very deceptive delivery. You watch his leg kick, he hides the ball pretty well.
fouls this one back. The pitch up. Randy, the only time he's been retired tonight came in the 7th inning when he went to 3-2 and maybe chased a pitch high out of the strike zone facing Bill Risley. Facing Aiello for the first time tonight. There's ball 2. It's 2-1. Two outs, then the walk. Now a 2-1 count to Randy Velarde. Upstairs again. 3 balls and a strike. Yankees tied it in the 8th. The Mariners re-grabbed the lead in the top of the 9th. 3-1 to Velarde. And a fly ball into right. Buhner going back, still on the run, leaps, makes the catch as he rams into the wall, hangs onto the ball, and it's down on the warning track.
What a great
Buhner ran into the wall to make the game-ending catch and is still down on the warning track. What a grab. A 3-1 pitch as Velarde hit it to deep right field. Buhner stayed with it, made the catch, but is still down. Rich Amaral out there, the second baseman, perhaps the first man to reach him.
There are not too many right fielders in the American League would have made that catch from where he started, and the ball hit on the line on a 3-1 pitch by Velarde, and it kept slicing away, and like one stride he goes into a leap from the wall, and about when the ball hit his glove, slightly after it, he impacted that wall very hard.
The Seattle club around Jay Buhner, who made the catch, hit the wall, held onto the baseball. You could see him. He has a presence of mind to hold up the baseball, but he was not getting up. And here's another look. 3-1 pitch driven into right by Velarde, and watch Buhner go to the wall and into the wall to get it.
He had a great jump, and you could see he looked to see how close he was. Then at the warning track, he had no other way to make it, and that is an absolute sensational play. Game saver, perhaps. Wow. He is up.
Is over. Buhner up on his feet. And we hope is going to be all right.
I'll tell you, you do not see very often people stay around this long after the game is completed. And they are still standing and looking to see how Jay Buhner's coming out. And I'll tell you,
that's a pretty good jolt from Buhner.
Man, what a sensational play.
And you hope the only thing is that he maybe had the wind knocked out of him, and it has taken him a little while to recover, but he's not in very good humor right now.
Chris Basio, the assistant trainer, helping Jay off. Rich Griffin, now the head trainer. Can't tell if there's a late problem or what it is. Regardless, he made a sensational play, and we hope for Lou Piniella's sake, Ken Griffey Jr.'s sake, Buhner is his protection behind him, and the Seattle Mariners, that he's okay. He's one heck of a right fielder and player.
Make a bid to pull this one out. Velarde hit the ball well. Buhner made the great catch, and this one is over. 4-3 the final. Seattle taking the first game of this 3-game series.